Good evening. Welcome to the 2020 Attorneys of the Year Awards celebration. I'm Bill Geyer, the publisher of Minnesota Lawyer. With me tonight is Joel Shetler, editor of Minnesota Lawyer. We'll be your hosts for this virtual awards event. On behalf of our staff and sponsors, thank you for joining us this evening. We're excited to welcome you to the 2020 Attorneys of the Year Awards. For the past 20 years, we have celebrated individuals, groups, and teams of attorneys for their outstanding achievements in the previous year. We also recognize those who have sustained a higher level of service throughout their careers with the Outstanding Service to the Profession Award. Among tonight's honorees are 6 Outstanding Service to the Profession Award winners. 15 of tonight's honorees are being welcomed into the Circle of Excellence for having been recognized previously as Attorneys of the Year. It is truly an honor for me to welcome you here tonight as we celebrate the accomplishments of tonight's honorees. It is especially important to recognize the impressive work that is being done in the legal community throughout Minnesota. You are probably as tired of hearing this as I am of saying it. The past year has been very challenging. This is definitely not the celebration we had hoped for. In fact, Attorneys of the Year was the last event that we held in person last year. I would love to be handing out drink tickets right about now. Since we're not gathering in person, your participation in today's event is even more important. In the past, there's been plenty of cheering as honorees ascend the stage to receive their awards. I remember last year, Blackwell Burke had about a dozen people on the stage to accept their award. So audience members, let's make sure to let these honorees know you appreciate their achievements and dedication by posting comments in the chat on the right side of your screen. If you post messages to social media, use the hashtag AOY2020 so we can pick them up and share them. The participation of our sponsors underscores their support of those we honor tonight. We begin with the event sponsor, Bridgewater Bank. Their professional services division offers sophisticated solutions for business professionals. Their team's tenure means they know what it takes to propel your business to the next level of success. We appreciate their partnership and look forward to many years working together. Next, we thank our ticket sponsor for this evening, Fish & Richardson. Their generosity has allowed us to provide access to tonight's event for all of the not-for-profit organizations and your family members that may not have otherwise tuned in. The VIP watch party sponsors include Anthony Ostland, Blackwell Burke, Ciresi Conlin, Newmark Storms Dworak, Thomson Reuters, and Winthrop and Weinstein. And lastly, thanks to MSR Design for hosting our magazine photo shoot. You'll get glimpses of their space in the background of some of the shots. They were also a Finance and Commerce top project for 2019. Thank you all for your support of the 2020 Attorneys of the Year. Having you as part of this evening is appreciated, and we thank you for your partnership. Audience members, please join me in a virtual round of applause to thank these sponsors. I hope you enjoy tonight's program. With the help of our honorees, we will bring their achievements to life through unique storytelling and video. Throughout the evening, you'll see and hear what inspires them and how 2020 has influenced their work and their lives. You'll also see shout-out videos offering congratulations from their companies and coworkers. And now, I would like to invite Mary Jane Crocker, Chief Operating Officer with Bridgewater Bank, to say a few words.
Hello, I'm Mary Jane Crocker, the Chief Operating Officer at Bridgewater Bank. On behalf of everyone at Bridgewater Bank, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2020 Attorneys of the Year Awards. Thank you to Minnesota Lawyer for shining a light on these inspiring attorneys. We are proud to help recognize their incredible achievements and professional dedication. We see this as a natural fit for us and a reflection of our mission to challenge the status quo. We started with a vision in 2005 to create an entrepreneurial bank where answers came quickly, opportunities were plentiful, and the culture was optimistic. An unconventional attitude sets us apart from traditional banks, and our clients, many of work in real estate, notice the difference. Like many of you, we work with local entrepreneurs and have enjoyed the opportunity to partake in their growth journeys. Tonight's honorees have each traveled their unique own path to success, often forging the way for others to follow. While we can't be together in person, I am so glad we come together virtually to recognize your hard work, your achievements, and your leadership. Again, congratulations to this year's honorees. I would now like to introduce Joel, editor of Minnesota Lawyer, to share with you how tonight's honorees were selected and help kick off the program.
Thanks, Mary Jane. Tonight's honorees took a variety of paths to make it to the top of their fields. What traits do they all share? They are smart, determined, and persistent. They care about their clients, constituents, and their communities. And they model success for attorneys following in their footsteps. The nominations we received highlighted work as varied as the legal professionals doing it. Each individual, group, or team was nominated by their peers, coworkers, or clients. To help choose this year's class of honorees, we relied on the members of a special selection committee comprised of those in the legal community who share the mission we recognize today. Their help in the process was and is immeasurable. We sincerely and humbly thank each for their commitment to this effort. And since many on that committee are previous honorees, they are a bit selective. I'd like to thank the committee along with everyone who submitted nominations. This year, there are 15 Circle of Excellence honorees. To receive Circle of Excellence status, you have to earn the honor twice. Selected for Circle of Excellence this year are Joseph W. Anthony, Anthony Oslin, Bear, and Luegi; Jerry W. Blackwell, Blackwell Burke; Thomas H. Boyd, Winthrop and Weinstein; Jan M. Conlin, Ciresi Conlin; David A. Davenport, Winthrop and Weinstein; Paul Dworak, Newmark Storms Dworak; Samuel Edmonds, Sieben Edmonds Miller; Corey L. Gordon, Blackwell Burke; Justice David Lillyhog, Frederickson and Byron; Matthew R. Corti, Ciresi Conlin; Liz Kramer, Office of the Minnesota Attorney General; Alan S. Milovitz, Milovitz Gallup and Milovitz; Andrew Mooring, Office of the Federal Defender, District of Minnesota; Tom Nelson, Stinson; Jeff Storms, Newmark Storms Dvorak. We congratulate these Circle of Excellence honorees and all of those being honored here this evening. It is now time to meet the Minnesota Lawyer selections for the 2020 Attorneys of the Year Awards. Remember, keep socially interactive with us by posting comments to #AOY2020. And post your messages of congratulations in the chat box to the right of your screen. We'll begin with the outstanding service to the profession, followed by individuals, teams, then the group honorees.
Jeff Shorba, Dawn Torgerson, Anne Marie O'Neill, Chief Justice Lori Skirvin Gildea. As with so many other customs, face-to-face legal meetings were put on hold last year. A team of administrators, clerks, and judges responded by setting up district and appellate courts to work and hold hearings remotely. That meant finding and implementing the right technology, as well as doing the needed training. As a result, judges and court staff are seeing that it might make sense to conduct some trials remotely from now on. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize Jeff Shorba, Dawn Torgerson, Anne Marie O'Neill, Chief Justice Lori Skirvin Gildea for their outstanding service to the profession. Cindy Telstad. Winona attorney Cindy Telstad makes giving back more than a catchphrase. Last year, she was elected chair of the Minnesota Board on Judicial Standards after 6 years as a board member. In the past, She has belonged to the Minnesota State Bar Association's Board of Governors and Assembly. She also has chaired the Real Property Section and its Title Standards Committee, in addition to many other volunteer positions. In addition to her work-related activities, she's involved in a variety of Winona nonprofits. Her goal of setting an example for younger attorneys could not be more clear. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to honor Cindy Telstad as an Attorney of the Year. Edward Cleary. Since getting his law degree 44 years ago, Edward Cleary has been, let me take a deep breath, a solo practice attorney, a public defender, director of Minnesota Lawyers Ethics Office, an adjunct law professor, a state district court judge, and a member and later chief judge of the Minnesota Court of Appeals before officially retiring last April. The stamp he has left on his profession is more than apparent. He has worked on a number of landmark cases involving freedom of expression and other weighty topics. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize Edward Cleary and his outstanding service to the profession. David Lillehog. COVID-19 caused a lot of carefully made plans to be scrapped. One of those was David Lillehog's plan to do some retirement traveling with his wife. His former employer, Fredrickson at Byron, came calling, and now David is back with the firm part-time. He works on civil litigation and consulting on appellate practice. And he has an eye on doing mediation and arbitration in the future. It sounds like a productive postscript to a distinguished career. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to recognize David Lillehog for outstanding service to the profession. Sharon Sales Belton. Since leaving the Minneapolis mayor's office, Sharon Sales Belton has kept a close eye on her city. She is now working to advance the recovery of Twin Cities areas damaged in the unrest following George Floyd's death. Sharon is Vice President of Strategic Partnerships and Alliances at Thomson Reuters, which committed more than $1 million to rebuilding North Minneapolis, the Lake Street area, and University Avenue in St. Paul. She was also part of an effort to get her employer, Thomson Reuters, to give grants to 17 organizations supporting rebuilding efforts and other measures. The company also doubled the paid hours off for employee volunteer work. Minnesota Lawyer is proud to honor Sharon Sales Belton for her outstanding service to the profession.
Hi, I'm Paul Fisher, Interim President for the Legal Professionals Business of Thomson Reuters. Sharon's commitment to the community throughout her career has been profound, and we're especially proud of her work last year. Sharon's leadership in fighting systemic racism and her work to help rebuild neighborhoods following the death of George Floyd were important to our community and to us at Thomson Reuters. Congratulations, Sharon, and thank you.
Tom Nelson. Stinson partner Tom Nelson took over the presidency of the Minnesota State Bar Association 2 years ago, little knowing that the state's legal community was in for one of its most dynamic years in recent memory. The association had just consolidated with 2 county bar associations. Then Tom worked with the MSBA and judicial staff to address changes to court procedures during the pandemic. 2 months after that, he led the association's response to the death of George Floyd. I think we're all with Tom in wishing for a nice, boring year. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize Tom Nelson for his outstanding service to the profession.
Hi, my name is John Uremovich, and on behalf of Bridgewater Bank and the Professional Services team, we'd like to thank all the honorees for their success.
And now, our individual honorees.
Andrew CARLSON. When Briggs & Morgan merged with an Ohio law firm last year, Andy CARLSON saw an opportunity, not to expand his book of business, but to grow the firm's pro bono programs. Andy led the group in creating centralized policy and practices for opening case files, tracking attorney hours, and coordinating efforts with legal aid providers. The new Taft firm even recently hired a full-time pro bono director. Andy continues to serve as a board member for the Fund for Legal Aid and is involved with the Children's Law Center. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to recognize Andrew CARLSON as an Attorney of the Year. David Davenport. David Davenport has become the go-to attorney in a niche practice. He is an expert on the federal Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program. The tax credit applies to investments in affordable housing properties constructed, acquired, and rehabilitated after 1986. David's practice has helped keep up the stock of affordable rental housing for low-income people. The key for David is that his expertise helps the most vulnerable among us. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize David Davenport as an Attorney of the Year. Greg Merz. It was a classic David versus Goliath case. The Department of Employment and Economic Development was keeping Minnesota high school students from receiving pandemic unemployment assistance benefits under the Federal CARES Act. Merz worked pro bono on behalf of the student group Youth Prize. Deed claimed that high school students aren't eligible for state unemployment benefits under Minnesota law, and therefore had no rights to federal unemployment money. Greg argued that state law did not dictate national policy. He convinced the Minnesota Court of Appeals that federal benefits were meant to help people not covered by state unemployment law. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to honor Greg Merz as an Attorney of the Year.
Thanks to Minnesota Lawyer magazine for this recognition. It has been one of the highlights of my career to have the opportunity to represent Youth Prize and a group of Minnesota young people in successfully challenging the policy of the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development that held that Minnesota high school students were not eligible for benefits under the Federal CARES Act. As a result of the court's decision in our case, thousands of Minnesota high school students who've lost their jobs because of the pandemic are now eligible to receive much needed financial benefits. I also want to thank the Minnesota youth leaders who advocated for a change in Deed's policy. They saw an injustice, and they didn't just shrug their shoulders or grumble or throw up their hands. They did something about it. And without their leadership, this important victory would not have happened.
Irene Kawo. Issues of diversity and equity have never been more in the public eye. That circumstance fits the work of Irene Kawo perfectly. An Intergovernmental Relations Council for the League of Minnesota Cities, Irene has worked with member cities on their diversity issues, especially in response to George Floyd's death. As one of the League's lobbyists, she has also helped draft legislative policy regarding racial equity. The end goal is to make diversity policies bolder and stronger at all levels. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to recognize Irene Kawo as an Attorney of the Year. Jill Brisbois. We've covered some heavy topics so far. For a break from that, here's a story about a topless sunbather. On behalf of a client who was ticketed for going topless, Jill Brisbois took on an arcane Minneapolis ordinance that restricts public exposure of female breasts. The park police eventually dropped the charges, and Jill argued successfully to have the citation expunged. The Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board then softened the ordinance to better match Minnesota's statute on the matter. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize Jill Brisbois as an Attorney of the Year. LEITA Walker. LEITA Walker has taken her first career of journalism and turned it into the focus of her second career. As a media and entertainment lawyer, LEITA works to protect journalists and their access to public data. When a CNN reporter was arrested during the George Floyd protests, she spent the ensuing days ensuring journalists were released from custody and the charges against them were dropped. She is currently working on ensuring the media will have everything it needs during the trials of the former police officers involved in Floyd's death. Minnesota Lawyer is proud to honor LEITA Walker as an Attorney of the Year. Masha Yevzelman. Every so often, Minnesota snowbirds get into trouble with state tax authorities over whether they live here or in Florida. Masha Yevzelman took on a case for a retired couple, one of whom lived here and the other in the Sunshine State, which has no income tax. The State Revenue Department saw one as a state resident because the other continued to live in Minnesota. Masha went to work and saw the case as being more about life decisions than just an issue of taxation. The Minnesota Tax Court Chief, and one of the oddest cases of Masha's career, went her way. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize Masha Yevzelman as one of its Attorneys of the Year. Michael Sackett. Michael Sackett calls himself a high-risk, high-reward lawyer. His specialty is civil litigation, including mass tort cases. Most of his year was taken up as part of the team looking into earplugs made by 3M. At issue was whether the company should be liable for hearing loss suffered by thousands of military service members who used the earplugs. A federal judge ruled in his favor, and now more than 200,000 related cases can go to trial, possibly this year. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to honor Michael Sackett as an Attorney of the Year.
Congratulations to Mike Sackett on an extraordinary job. He is an unbelievably talented young lawyer who has done remarkable things for the firm in the short time he's been with us. I predict he will be one of the great lawyers in Minnesota as time goes by. And I'm glad to see that while Mike was there, that he did wear socks and shoes, because as we know in the office, many times he does not have socks and shoes on. But fortunately, when he appeared in court, he did. Mike, great job. We look forward to you doing things like this in the future. And as more people get to know you, they'll know what a tremendous lawyer you are.
SYBIL DUNLOP. Voting rights were a big topic last year. SYBIL DUNLOP was in the middle of many such discussions. She was the lead Minnesota counsel on several state cases brought to make sure that everyone eligible to vote was able to do so. SYBIL helped plan 3 events to educate and encourage women to apply for judicial positions. Despite the pandemic, she and her team planned a weekend seminar for nearly 100 attorneys. The right to vote is never to be taken lightly, but that right is a little more secure thanks to people like SYBIL. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize SYBIL DUNLOP as an Attorney of the Year.
Hi, I'm Jenny Gassman-Pines, and I'm one of SYBIL DUNLOP's partners at Greene Espel. I am so thrilled to congratulate her on behalf of our law firm. I could talk all day about why SYBIL is deserving of the Attorney of the Year award, but instead I'm going to give 3 reasons of why I think she was the perfect pick for this award. First, SYBIL has worked tirelessly to help our judiciary by working with judicial candidates to help prepare them for interviews with the Judicial Selection Commission and the governor. Second, SYBIL has traveled virtually across the country and across the state of Minnesota to teach individuals and organizations about diversity, equity, and inclusion in an effort to make our community better and our workplaces stronger. And third, SYBIL was one of the people who was instrumental in lawsuits this fall to help protect the integrity of our elections here in Minnesota. And on top of all of that, SYBIL has a thriving law practice. She's a fantastic partner, and she's a really, really great friend. So on behalf of the entire Greene Espel community, we congratulate SYBIL on her Attorney of the Year award. We love you, SYBIL, and we are so glad you are part of the Greene Espel community and our broader Minnesota community.
Next, we'll honor the teams.
Thomas Hagen and Stephen Groshen. Is this person guilty or innocent? That's the question every defense attorney faces again and again. Tom Hagen took a murder case because he believed the defendant. With help from associate Stephen Groshen, he crafted a defense. Lots of evenings and weekends were involved. After a 3-week trial with 40 witnesses, a jury deliberated 12 hours before finding their client not guilty. The case even made an appearance on Dateline NBC. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to honor Thomas Hagen and Stephen Groshen as Attorneys of the Year. Andrew Earlbeck and Paul Applebaum. These two solo lawyers describe themselves as suckers for the underdog. Good break for the underdog. Andrew Earlbeck and Paul Applebaum defended a disabled and indigent man who had been in a county jail for 1.5 years based on accusations of criminal sexual conduct. Andrew and Paul have worked together on more than 50 cases over the past decade. Here's to 50 more. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize Andrew Earlbeck and Paul Applebaum as Attorneys of the Year. Jan Conlin and Matthew Corte. Yes, Virginia, there is a city in Alaska called North Pole. And yes, it has a big problem with contaminated groundwater thanks to a refinery located there. Jan Conlin and Matthew Corte represented the company that bought the refinery from its former owners without knowing the extent of the contamination. A lawsuit against the sellers resulted in a ruling that it would pay $80 million for past damages, as well as pick up the tab for future remediation. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to honor Jan Conlin and Matthew Corte as Attorneys of the Year.
On behalf of the firm, I want to extend our congratulations to Jan and Matt for an extraordinary job in representing the city of North Pole, the home of Santa Claus. But they were doing God's work, protecting the environment, and as usual, they did an extraordinary job. And they had to overcome tremendous obstacles. For example, they had to go to the laundromat on a daily basis to do their wash in their laundry, and we have pictures of them with a stack of quarters putting their money into the laundromat. I'm not sure who did the work, Jan or Matt, on that one. But two great lawyers did a great job. Congratulations.
Jerry W. Blackwell and Corey L. Gordon. 100 years ago, a black man named Mac Mason was wrongfully convicted of raping a white woman in 1920. Several other black men were also accused, 3 of whom were later lynched. While that shameful chapter can never be unwritten, a group of lawyers from Blackwell Burke have cleared Mason's name. Working with a wide group of supporters, Jerry Blackwell and Kerry Gordon got a posthumous pardon, the first one in Minnesota's history. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to honor Jerry Blackwell and Corey Gordon as Attorneys of the Year.
Jerry and Corey, congratulations on being named Attorneys of the Year for the 2nd year in a row. You've inspired us with your leadership and securing the Max Mason posthumous pardon. You helped bring together the state, both the legal community and the powers that be in support of this important issue, and righting a great injustice of Minnesota history. So thank you, and we celebrate you today.
Congratulations, Corey and Jerry, on being named Attorney of the Year. And we thank you and are so proud of you for all the work that you both put into bringing the state of Minnesota together on the Max Mason work.
So Jerry, Corey, on behalf of all of us here at Blackwell Burke, thanks for all you've done for us and for the state of Minnesota in this great achievement. We salute you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thomas Boyd and Michael Rosso. The Tom Petters Ponzi scheme was one of the biggest in American history. 2 lawyers from Winthrop and Weinstein have spent 12 years in the thick of the aftermath. Since Petters was arrested, a bankruptcy trustee has brought about 200 lawsuits against people and entities that interacted with pedders. In one such suit, Thomas Boyd and Michael Rosso represented parties that had lent money to pedders. Even though the loan was repaid, they were sued due to that tenuous connection to pedders. Thomas and Michael got a circuit court to reverse that judgment. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to honor Thomas Boyd and Michael Rosso as Attorneys of the Year.
Tom and Mike, congratulations on the 2020 Attorney of the Year award. We wish that we could be there to celebrate with you in person, but we hope our virtual messages will show you just how proud we are to call you our partners, our colleagues, and our friends. Congratulations.
Hey, Tom and Mike, congratulations on the great honor. You guys deserve it.
Congratulations, Tom and Mike.
My heartfelt congratulations to each of you on this well-deserved honor.
Congratulations on being named Attorney of the Year. I'm very proud to be working with you and know you all these years.
Congratulations, Tom and Mike. Great job. Congratulations, Tom and Mike. Well done.
The fellow Pedders alum, I can appreciate all the hard work that went into that case. Congratulations on a well-deserved award.
So deserved, and proud to work with you and call you my colleagues as well as my friends. Congratulations.
Imran Ali and Karen Kugler. A pair of lawyers from different counties are responsible for most of the recent sex trafficking convictions in Minnesota. Assistant Ramsey County Attorney Karen Kugler and Assistant Washington County Attorney Imran Ali have helped the legislature draft sex trafficking law changes. They have provided sex trafficking training and education around the state and trained thousands of police officers around the country. Most important, they worked toward several arrests, saving countless young women from being exploited. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to honor Imran Ali and Karen Kugler as Attorneys of the Year. Kevin Sieben and Samuel Edmonds. Kevin Sieben and Samuel Edmonds were law school classmates and have been law partners for 8 years. They drew on that closeness last year by helping people who had lost work due to COVID and were worried that a conviction might hinder their ability to get a job. They created a program that resembles the Minnesota Second Chance Act by increasing opportunities for criminal expungement. The pro bono effort so far has received more than 100 applications. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize Kevin Sieben and Samuel Edmonds as Attorneys of the Year. Peter Gorman and Mary Rice. So many worthy legal initiatives would go nowhere without skilled volunteers. Retired attorneys Peter Gorman and Mary Rice both contribute a great deal of time and expertise for the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota's Pro Bono Project, working specifically on cases related to the DACA immigration policy. Peter and Mary have been working especially hard lately, making sure that hundreds of Minnesota's DACA recipients can not only maintain their authorization to work, but also remain in the United States. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to honor Peter Gorman and Mary Rice as Attorneys of the Year.
Thank you for this award. It means a lot, I think, in recognition of two things. First, the importance of providing legal services to those who are eligible for DACA until hopefully Congress provides a path to citizenship for them. Second, the work and dedication of the staff and many volunteers of the Immigrant Law Center in handling immigration cases for clients from over 100 countries, in legislative advocacy, and in education about immigration. Thank you.
Thank you for this honor, which I hope will call attention to our dreamer clients. Brought to the United States when they were children, these young adults now seek a legal status under our DACA program so that they can work and live in the United States without fear of deportation. They know life in no other country and ultimately want the same things our own children want: education, a home, and stability. The Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota provides legal assistance to these young adults and other low-income immigrants and refugees. They need your help and financial support.
Paul Dworak and Jeff Storms. 3 years ago, sheriff's deputies shot and killed Archer Amorosi, a teenager in the throes of a mental health crisis. To add to his family's trauma, police were set to release their records about Archer. Paul Dworak and his partner Jeffrey Storms then stepped in. The two got the Data Practices Office to issue an advisory opinion that Archer's records were private, even after his death. One agency that didn't comply was Carver County. That led to a suit and one of the largest data practices-related settlements in Minnesota history. Minnesota Lawyer is proud to recognize Paul Dworak and Jeff Storms as Attorneys of the Year.
My dad is Paul Dworak. We are so proud of him. My dad is Jeff Storms. My daddy is Jeff Storms. Go, Dad, go! Go, Dad, go! Go, Dad, go! Congratulations, Mr. Paul. I love my dad. I love you, Daddy. Jeff, Jeff, Jeff,
Gerald Laurie and Kelly Janetta. As the laws around sexual harassment evolve, courts are trying to keep up. A big step in that process came thanks to Gerald Laurie and Kelly Janetta. In a harassment suit the two filed, a district court judge noted that he was restricted by archaic case law. But that didn't stop the two lawyers from appealing all the way to the Minnesota Supreme Court. They prevailed there, and it was established that sexual harassment suits should stand or fall on their own facts. That should clear the way for a trial, possibly this year. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to honor Gerald Laurie and Kelly Janetta as Attorneys of the Year.
It has been a privilege to work with Jerry Laurie on the Kenna case. To have been able to play a role in achieving this Minnesota Supreme Court decision that is so consequential for victims of workplace sexual harassment is pinnacle career-wise. On top of that, to be selected as a Minnesota Attorney of the Year is an amazing honor and one I will bask in for quite some time.
I'm Jerry Laurie with the law firm of Laurie Law and ADR. I'm very honored to receive this award tonight, especially after practicing law for 54 years. My co-counsel Kelly Janetta and I argued a case before the Supreme Court giving victims of sexual harassment the right to a trial more often. It's an honor to accept this evening, and I thank Minnesota Lawyer.
Larry J. Chiat and Alan S. Milovets. Alan Milovets and Larry Chiat have worked pro bono for more than a decade to restore a historic synagogue in the city of Virginia. On behalf of a nonprofit, the lawyers helped the cause of renovating the B'nai Abraham Synagogue. The newly spruced up space is now in the hands of the Northern Lights Music Festival. That group stages performances in the building as part of its Iron Range Summer Classical Music School and concert program. The two lawyers called their efforts a labor of love. Both men have family roots in Virginia. Thanks in part to them, the oldest synagogue in northern Minnesota is still vibrant. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to recognize Alan Milovets and Larry Chiat as Attorneys of the Year.
And finally, here are the group honorees for 2020.
"20-Day Revocable Trust Trial." Years ago, a Minnesota businessman created a complex estate plan to minimize taxes and maintain flexibility over his assets. After he and his son both died, a number of plaintiffs came calling. They challenged the estate plans, seeking damages and operating control of their business assets. A team of 6 lawyers from 3 firms successfully defended the estate plans of the two entrepreneurs through 4 years of litigation and a 20-day trial. The verdict ensures the continued operation of the firm by the management team the owners hired. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize the 20-day revocable trust trial team as Attorneys of the Year.
On behalf of the entire firm, I want to congratulate both of you, Dan and Joe, and your entire team, the assistants, the paralegals, associates, other lawyers who worked with you on this case, for a job very well done and an award very well deserved. Congratulations.
Joe and Dan, the dynamic duo, congratulations on this recognition, which you deserve for so many reasons. We are very grateful and proud of you at Anthony Osland, and so lucky to be able to work with both of you each day. Cheers to a great team.
Dan, welcome to the team. Joe, congratulations again. That's 7 of our partners who have received Attorney of the Year recognition in just the last 12 years. And as we celebrate 20 years of Joe and I becoming partners in May of 2001, I couldn't think of a better tribute to all those people that have worked hard to make this possible over the years. Congratulations again, and thanks for everything that you all do to support both our clients and to make an impact in our community.
District of Minnesota Compassionate Release. Some of the forgotten victims of the coronavirus are prisoners, who often live in settings where social distancing is not possible. Last year, federal detainees started filing motions for compassionate release sentence reductions. That led a number of offices to put together a screening protocol for those cases. One of those was the District of Minnesota Clerk's Office. As of early this year, almost 500 cases in this area have been screened and litigated. As a result, dozens of at-risk prisoners have been granted early releases. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to honor the District of Minnesota Compassionate Release Team as Attorneys of the Year. Mayo Clinic and Fish and Richardson. When Mayo Clinic created a new diagnostic test that helped detect a rare autoimmune disorder, it was sued for patent infringement. The plaintiff said Mayo had used the same technology it had used. In defending the clinic, lawyers from Fish and Richardson established that most of the diagnoses of the disease come from seeking out certain antibodies. They successfully argued that a diagnostic tool based on laws of nature could not be patented. At the same time, it left the door open for future patents in that area. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize the Mayo Clinic and Fish and Richardson team as Attorneys of the Year.
My name is Patrick Finn. I'm the Managing Principal of Fish and Richardson's Twin Cities office. I'm absolutely thrilled to congratulate my colleagues Betsy Flanagan and Dan Reichel and my client and friend Joe Coliani, Mayo Clinic's Director of Legal Operations, in their recognition as 2020 Attorneys of the Year by Minnesota Lawyer. In January of 2020, the United States Supreme Court denied review of the Athena Mayo case, leaving intact Fish's impressive win for Mayo Clinic in District Court and at the Federal Circuit. I was fortunate enough to work alongside Betsy, Deanna, and Joe as part of a dream team that included other Fish attorneys, John Atkinson, Phil Goder, Adam Kessel, and John Singer, to bring this case to a successful conclusion. It is gratifying to see that our efforts on behalf of clients recognized by Minnesota lawyers, and I applaud Betsy, Deanna, and Joe in this outstanding recognition.
Protecting Minnesota in a Pandemic. After the governor's executive orders outlining COVID-related restrictions, the Attorney General's office created teams to protect Minnesotans. Part of the idea was to keep people safe from rip-offs as well as the virus. The teams looked into violations involving restaurants, along with cases of price gouging and evictions. Among the steps were putting a 20% cap on price increases for essential items. A team of attorneys looked into more than 2,000 price gouging complaints. Minnesota Lawyer is pleased to recognize Protecting Minnesota in a Pandemic as Lawyers of the Year. Bidet McCoska Name Restoration Team. The battle over bidet MAKA ended last year after the Minnesota Supreme Court decided the state had the authority to change its name from Lake Calhoun. Native Ways Federation Executive Director Carly Banhart-Bull was among the leaders of a 5-year effort to restore the lake's name to honor its native heritage. The effort was personal for Carly and her colleagues. Her ancestors lived in an agricultural village located at the lake. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize the Bidet MAKA Name Restoration Team as Attorneys of the Year. Peacetime Emergency Precedent Team. No Minnesota governor has had to exercise emergency powers as much as Governor Tim Walz did during the COVID pandemic. With almost no precedent to lead the way, it was up to a team of lawyers to come up with a peacetime emergency precedent. When cases challenging the governor's use of his powers started coming in, a group of state offices combined to create their own precedent. Thanks to them, we have a much better idea about when and how peacetime emergencies can be declared in Minnesota. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to honor the Peacetime Emergency Precedent Team as Attorneys of the Year. State COVID Legal and Executive Order Drafting Team. We talked earlier about the peacetime emergency precedent established by state-employed lawyers. But there was another dimension to it. Governor Tim Walz issued a series of executive orders limiting social gatherings and recommending that Minnesotans restrict their travel. It was up to the governor's general counsel team to navigate the legal implications and advise Walz on the legal aspects of his response to the pandemic. Minnesota Lawyer is happy to recognize the State COVID Legal and Executive Order Drafting Team as Lawyers of the Year. 2020 Election Team. Election Day 2020 was one of the most watched political events of this generation, and probably the most hotly disputed. A team of litigators from various state offices was given the job of taking on election law cases. Putting the team together turned out to be a smart move. Instead of the 2 or 3 legal challenges customary to an election cycle, there were more than 20. The team successfully litigated in both state and federal court at both the district and appellate level. Minnesota Lawyer is proud to recognize the 2020 election team as Attorneys of the Year.
Tonight has been a special evening spent with attorneys who are influencing others and changing our world. Our sincere thanks for all that you do in your role as business and community leaders. We are indeed richer because of your service. At this time, I would like to ask the honorees to stand and be recognized. Congratulations. And I ask all of you out there to please join me in acknowledging again their achievements, hard work, and dedication. Congratulations, Attorneys of the Year for 2020. If you took a picture of your honoree when they stood just now, it's not too late to post on social media at #AOY2020 and or shout out in the chat to the right of your screen. Many of you have already posted on Facebook and LinkedIn. Why not go back and reshare those posts? Thank you again to all of our sponsors, in particular, event sponsor Bridgewater Bank and ticket sponsor Fish and Richardson, for your support of tonight's program and your support of this year's honorees.
We will be publishing a special magazine with profiles of each honoree. If you would like copies of the Attorneys of the Year magazine, please let us know. Honorees, if you would like to order a framed reprint of your magazine profile, look for an email from Lisa Arnold or Bill Geyer.
At this time, we usually open the stage for photos. So rather than rush the virtual stage, snap them yourselves and post them online using the hashtag AOY2020. On behalf of Minnesota Lawyer, thank you for helping us celebrate our Attorneys of the Year for 2020. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon.
Congratulations. Good night.